Don't rely on people. Rely on God only. I want to ask you today who you are placing your trust in today, or what you are placing your trust in today. Many people trust in many things, and also in many different people. But I am here today to encourage you to trust in God. Trust God. Your bank account will do nothing for you in eternity. Your loved ones can do nothing for you in eternity. Psalm 20 verse 7, some trust in chariots, and some in horses. But we will remember the name of the Lord our God. Have you experienced what I call grade 1 disappointment and frustration after putting your trust in someone? The reason for this is because you place your trust in man too much. I am not saying you should not trust people or rely on them, but there are times you just have to focus on God instead. Relying on a man only is a way to expose yourself to frustration. People are human beings, and more often than not, they have their challenges too. They have things they are trying to work out in their lives, and they may fail you someday. This is why you have to rely on God. Have you been relying on people for too long? Have you been facing frustration? Mankind is limited. They can't do everything for you. But God is unlimited. He will do everything for you. You are so special in the sight of God. He knows what you are going through. He knows how you feel. He even knows where you are in life right now. You are His number one priority, but you have to remove your trust on people and on this world and place it on God. So why should you rely on God? Firstly, He will never put you to shame. Isaiah 54 verse 4, do not fear, for you will not be ashamed, neither be disgraced. For you will not be put to shame, for you will forget the shame of your youth, and will not remember the reproach of your widowhood anymore. Note this, there is no disappointment in God. If you rely on God for anything, He will not disappoint you. You cannot be put to shame because you rely on God. So I ask you today, who are you relying on now? Are you tired of disappointment? Are you tired of frustration? Are you tired of putting your faith and trust in this person and that person and this person, and they all let you down? Put your trust in God. Rely on God. He has promised you, you will not be ashamed. That is a promise. No one else can make a promise like that to you. Secondly, there is nothing impossible for Him to do. Like we always say that the only thing that God cannot do in this life is make a mistake. After this, there is nothing He cannot do. God is the Almighty. He created heaven and earth. Sometimes when I examine the earth or read about it, some formations, some landscapes baffle me, and I wonder how God did it. Even when I look at the human body, it is amazing all of the system it has in place, all working together. How was He able to design it so perfectly that the tiniest thing in our body has its own functions too? Tell me what God cannot do in this life. This is one of my favorite verses. I learned this when I was young. Jeremiah 32 verse 27. Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? The answer to that question is no. There is nothing too hard for Him, no situation too hopeless, no marriage too broken, no heart too broken, no life too destroyed for Him. Why should you be relying on someone else when God is telling you that there is nothing He cannot do? Why should you get used to being disappointed by people who are limited? It is a curse from God to rely on men and not God. Jeremiah 17 verse 5. Thus saith the Lord, Cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord. This must be shocking to you. Trusting in a person and not in God is like disregarding God who created humanity. How can you leave the one who made something and face the thing He made, and trust that thing more than the Maker that is capable of destroying that thing? This is a massive mistake. Let's read this verse again. Cursed be the man that trusteth in man. I think we all don't want to be cursed. We want to be blessed. We can even reverse this verse to say, Blessed is the person who trusts in the Lord. It is a blessing to trust in the Lord, because when you do, everything will always work out in your favor, to bless you, to benefit you. Even bad situations ultimately work in your favor. A person can't do that for you, but God can. God should always be the first and only point of our trust. Even if anyone promises you anything, you must tell God first and trust God for that thing. Isaiah 2 verse 22. Stop trusting in mere humans, who have but a breath in their nostrils. Why hold them in esteem? This is the word of the Bible. The word of God instructs us to not put our trust in humans. In a time like this, we need so many things in life. We need to trust God for all of these things, because only He can give us. What are the things we should rely on God for at a time like this? What are some of the things we can trust God with? We can trust God for our protection. Bad things are happening around the world, accidents, kidnappings, and some much more terrible. There are so many frustrated and depressed people on the street who are ready to inflict injuries on any innocent person. That is the reality of the world we live in. We walk on these streets every day. We get on the road, we go about our business, and we are okay. This is not because we take the safest route. It is just the promise of God concerning us that are working in our lives. If you are wondering what this promise might be, there are many promises that God gave us in the Scriptures, and one of them is the promise of protection. God promised to protect us and keep us away from evil. There are many verses of the Scriptures that keep reminding us that God will keep us safe. Psalm 121 verse 4 to 8. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, and even for evermore. This is a great promise of safety. God promised that He would be there for us everywhere we go. Can you, human, promise you that? The promises that God made are not just empty promises. The word of God never fails. Joshua 21 verse 45, There failed not aught of any good thing which the Lord had spoken unto the house of Israel, all came to pass. Remember what God has told us in Jeremiah 29 verse 11. He said He has good plans for us all. All of these plans that God has for us are not wicked plans. They are not the plans to see us face an accident or whatever bad thing that is out there. When He said He would be with us everywhere we go, He meant it. God is not a man that He should lie. Men lie, women lie, but God doesn't lie. We can trust God for healing.